So Mary Kay pulled up, and the thing I was going to get to early was, all right, who you think won in the quarterback battle? We did ask that, but the thing that was the biggest takeaway was she came through and just dropped some.
Nick, Jarvis weighed in on the Browns draft, right?
Correct. Yeah, this is Jarvis on his podcast with Leonard Fournette, the Fourth and South pod, and him talking about the Browns selection of Spencer Fano specifically.
The media is finally starting to say out loud what some Browns fans have been trying to tell everybody for weeks. Cleveland might not be the same old Cleveland anymore, and that is why this conversation is getting so loud. Because for years, anytime somebody said the Browns could win 8, 9, or 10 games, people laughed before they even heard the argument. They called it homer talk. They called it blind optimism. They said Browns fans were drinking the Kool-Aid again. But now, the same local and national voices that were skeptical are starting to look at this roster, look at this rookie class, look at Todd Monken, look at the schedule, and say, wait a minute, this team might actually be dangerous. Mary Kay Cabot basically put the whole conversation on the table when she said the Browns have a roster that can win somewhere between 8 and 10 games if the quarterback play is good enough. She pointed to a championship caliber defense, a completely overhauled offense, and a rookie class that should contribute to actual wins this season. That is the key part, not just cute rookie camp buzz, not just these guys look good in shorts. She is talking about players who can help this team win football games right now. And once that kind of language started coming from people with credibility, the whole tone around the Browns changed.
You know, they had a great year this year, and a lot of those players is going to come back next year. But that don't mean that next season is going to look exactly like this season for the Seattle Seahawks. You know, when you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, nobody expected Kansas City to just win 6 games this year.
Here's the part nobody is talking about. The reason people are stunned is not because the argument suddenly became new. It's because the messenger changed. When fans or former players say the Browns can win 8 to 10 games, people dismiss it as emotion. But when established reporters start saying it, suddenly it sounds reasonable. That is how labels work. Some Browns voices get called homers before they even finish a sentence, but the argument was always the same. Fix the offensive line, add real playmakers, keep the defense elite, get better coaching, and the quarterback does not have to be perfect for this team to become a problem. And that is exactly what Cleveland has been trying to do. The Browns did not just sit around and hope one quarterback magically saves them. They rebuilt the environment around the quarterback. Cleveland signed 8 of its 2026 draft picks, including first-round offensive lineman Spencer Fano, and added names like Denzel Boston, Austin Barber, Parker Brailsford, Justin Jefferson, Joe Royer, Taylon Green, and Carson Ryan. Reuters reported Fano's deal was fully guaranteed and came after the Browns selected him 9th overall, showing how seriously they attacked the trenches. That matters because football still starts up front.
Well, I got fooled last year. I thought they were better than what people thought, at least at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, the defense was good.
But you know, you can't predict what happened to the offensive line. On paper, they should be better than what people think. They're not the...
This is where it gets dangerous, because if the Browns actually fix the offensive line, everything else changes. The run game changes, the quarterback evaluation changes, the receiver production changes, the defense gets more rest, the whole team stops feeling like it has to survive chaos every Sunday. And that is why the optimism is not as crazy as people make it sound. The Browns are not saying, trust us, everything will magically be fine. They are building a structure that gives whoever plays quarterback a much better chance to succeed. The schedule also helps fuel this entire conversation. The Browns' official site noted that Cleveland enters the schedule release with the easiest strength of schedule in the league, based on last season's opponent winning percentage, sitting at .429 and ranking 32nd among all NFL teams. That does not guarantee wins, but it absolutely creates opportunity. When a team with a strong defense and a rebuilt offense gets a favorable path, you cannot just ignore it.
You get through all that stuff, and you're hoping the running game should be better, but the quarterback position is going to be integral to all of this. That could either be a nice, pleasant surprise that gets you a few more wins than maybe you expected, or it could be just as bad as everybody thinks it is, in which case, maybe we're sitting here by the end of the season talking about, well, they've got a lot of good things in place, but for the quarterback.
Now, Browns fans know better than anybody that easy schedule can be dangerous language. There are no free wins in the NFL. Teams change every year. A team that looked bad last season can suddenly be dangerous with a new coach, new quarterback, or a healthy roster. But still, opportunity matters. If Cleveland is serious about becoming a contender, this is the type of year where they have to take advantage. You do not apologize for a softer schedule. You attack it. And that is where Todd Monken becomes the biggest swing factor in the entire building. Browns Daily has already featured Monken's recap of rookie minicamp, and the early reports around Berea are that the offensive identity is already showing up. Motions, shifts, layered concepts, horizontal stress, and more creativity. That is exactly what Browns fans have been begging for after years of second-half stagnation and predictable offense.
Because of the way the Browns drafted, they drafted 8 guys. On that side of the ball, their offense looks better than the defense overall rookie minicamp.
This is where young players usually make a mistake. They think a new system automatically means success. It does not. A new offense only works if players buy in, learn fast, and execute under pressure. But the early rookie minicamp reports have been positive. The Browns' own site said Todd Monken was pleased with what the 2026 draft class and new additions showed on the field during the first full day of rookie minicamp. That matters because this team needs young players to contribute early, not just develop quietly in the background. And the rookie class is a huge reason people are starting to change their tone. KC Concepcion gives this offense a movable weapon who can be used in space. Denzel Boston gives the Browns size and catch radius at receiver. Taylon Green gives them a rare athletic profile at quarterback. And NFL.com highlighted that he ran a 4.36 40 while standing 6'5", with Green saying he does not really think there is anybody like him. That kind of athletic trait forces coaches to think creatively. Now, does that mean Taylon Green is the starting quarterback? No, but it means the Browns have more tools than they had before. They can use packages, they can create short yardage looks, they can force defenses to prepare for something extra. And when you're trying to steal wins in a tight AFC, those little wrinkles matter. One third down conversion here, one red zone touchdown there, one defensive coordinator wasting practice time on a special package, all of that adds up. But the real debate still comes back to quarterback. That is the one thing even the optimistic people admit. If Cleveland gets bad quarterback play, all of this excitement can fall apart. If the quarterback is average or slightly above average, the Browns can win games. That is the entire difference. Nobody serious is saying the Browns are guaranteed to dominate. The argument is that the roster is now strong enough to lift the quarterback instead of asking the quarterback to carry a broken roster. And that is why the Shedeur-Sanders conversation is so important. Fans are tired of the old cycle. They're tired of watching the team walk into the same wall over and over. They want upside. They want new energy. They want the guy who gives the franchise a different feeling. If Shedeur is close in the competition, a lot of fans believe he should get the job because his development matters more than forcing another veteran reset. But the Browns have to be careful. If they give Deshaun Watson most of the reps and then he gets hurt or struggles, those reps are wasted. If Shedeur is the future, he needs timing with the receivers, chemistry with the line, and command of the offense before the season starts. You cannot keep saying you want to develop young players and then block their development with short-term decisions. That's where this quarterback battle becomes bigger than football. It becomes about the direction of the franchise. The media being stunned also tells you something about how deep the Browns' reputation problem really is. People are not just skeptical because of the roster. They're skeptical because it's Cleveland. They remember the last 25 years. They remember false hope. They remember hype trains that crashed. So even when the Browns make logical moves, people hesitate to believe it. But that past has nothing to do with Todd Monken. It has nothing to do with this rookie class. It has nothing to do with players who were not even part of those old failures. That's the mindset shift Cleveland is trying to create. This is not about pretending the past didn't happen. It did. Browns fans suffered through it. But a new coach doesn't inherit every old failure emotionally unless the building lets him. Monken comes in with fresh ideas, fresh tempo, and a different offensive philosophy. Andrew Berry is clearly trying to reshape the roster around power, athleticism, and versatility. That's an organizational shift, not just a few draft picks. And that's why the comparison to teams like the Lions, Eagles, or Dolphins matters. Those teams did not become dangerous because the quarterback magically fixed everything alone. They built the environment. They improved the trenches. They gave the quarterback weapons. They found coaching that fit. Then the quarterback took a step. That's the blueprint Cleveland is trying to follow. Fix everything around the position so you can finally evaluate the position honestly. The defense is still the backbone of this whole thing. If the Browns are going to become a scary contender in 2026, the defense has to be elite. Not decent, elite. The type of defense that wins ugly games, flips field position, and makes quarterbacks uncomfortable. The additions on defense matter, but so does the belief that this unit can stay top tier. If the defense gives Monken's offense
time to grow, Cleveland becomes a much harder team to beat, but the offense has to reward that defense early. That was one of the best points in the conversation you provided. If the defense comes out strong and the offense keeps stalling, the here we go again feeling creeps back in. That's the most dangerous phrase in Cleveland sports. Once players start thinking that, the season can slip. But if the offense scores early, finishes drives, and makes second half adjustments, suddenly the defense believes this year is different. And that's where Monken has to earn his money. The Browns cannot be a team that looks good in the first quarter and then disappears. They can't waste halftime. They can't come out flat after the break. If Monken improves third down, red zone, and second half scoring even slightly, the win total changes. The margins in the NFL are thin. A better call on third down, a smarter second half adjustment, one explosive play off motion, that's the difference between 5 wins and 9 wins. So when the media starts acting stunned, Browns fans shouldn't be surprised. The signs have been there. The roster is better. The schedule is favorable. The rookie class has juice. The offensive line has been attacked. The receiver room has more options. The defense still has high-end talent. The coaching staff is different. The only reason people hesitate is because the logo still says Cleveland Browns. But at some point, the team has to force people to stop laughing. That's the real challenge. Not winning the offseason, not getting praised in May, not having reporters say 8 to 10 wins is possible. The Browns have to turn this into actual football. They have to punch teams early. They have to run the ball. They have to protect the quarterback. They have to make the easy schedule look easy. They have to prove the new energy is real. Because if they do, this becomes one of the biggest turnaround stories in the NFL. And if they don't, every skeptic will say, see, same old Browns. That's what's on the line. The difference between becoming a scary contender and becoming another offseason joke is execution. So now the question is simple. Are people finally waking up to what the Browns are building? Or is this just another wave of Cleveland optimism that will crash once the games begin? Can Todd Monken change the entire mentality of this offense? Can Shedeur Sanders, or whoever wins the job, give them enough quarterback play? Can the defense stay elite? And most importantly, are Browns fans ready to stop apologizing for believing? Because if this roster starts fast, the media will not just be stunned, they'll be forced to admit Cleveland saw it coming before everybody else.